Alright, this is the recap for the last week's trading week, the 9th through the 13th. Don't know what my win rate was, but it was one of my best weeks ever in terms of risk to reward. I ended up being up, I think I calculated it was like 7.25 R, which is not normal for me. So, oh yeah, I don't know if this is going on YouTube or not, but if it is, free Discord is linked below. I'm looking to fill one more spot in my one-on-one mentorship. If you're interested, DM me, add me on socials. And also, I just have a VIP Discord. What's included in that is around like 4.5 hours of educational videos with backtesting, how I trade, and then also the main thing is watching me live trade every morning from 9:30 to 11 Eastern time. And yeah. And then also always access to every single week. I do a weekly recap like this, but if you're watching this on YouTube, obviously this week's was uploaded there. So coming into Monday's opening here, I didn't really have, I was kind of neutral. I was leaning more bearish just because higher time frame, bullish and bearish, but like short term bearish just because we're rejecting out of this 1 hour, but we are just making higher highs and higher lows, and we're rejecting out of this top 15 minute. Off of open here, we end up getting a nice PDI model. I didn't end up taking this, but what we had was a swoop of this low. We came into these 5 minutes over here. I just didn't really like this. I don't really know why. Well, the main reason why is because, so we had this 1 minute here, but we wicked it out here, and then we come down, we make another wick, and we're kind of just generating like this low resistance liquidity right here, and I just didn't like that, and it like barely inversed. I know a lot of people took this. I personally didn't. It was a pretty good trade. I just faded it. It ended up working, but next time it might not work. So could have held all the way up here, but main target was these pre-market highs. I think this kept running, but I rated this, I think, B plus or A minus, just because, I would just say A minus just because of this low resistance liquidity. When this happens, all I'm looking for is simply just a resweep of this low and then getting a V-shape long out of it. But the rest of the day, there wasn't really anything. There was another potential long you could have taken, which we had to pull back into this 5 minute. We had to pull back into this 5 minute, and then we had a 2 minute inversion to the upside right here. And I also just faded this because it took so long to inverse, and the risk to reward just wasn't it. Wasn't really willing to have my stop down here, but this would have ended up working out too. I just didn't. I don't know. I think it was a no news Monday. It doesn't really matter, but two pretty good setups that I just simply faded. So that's that. I don't think we had anything after that. After those two good setups, I told everybody that, most likely you're not going to get another good setup on the day after those two good ones. And we ended up getting, like a 3 minute inversion, another continuation of the upside. But, yeah, just not much for me to take that I was interested in. Coming on to Tuesday. But, not taking a trade is better than taking a trade and losing it. So, okay, I was still very bullish on Tuesday. We did extend up after this AM session. Not even after the AM session, during the AM session. And we just started accumulating. So when we started accumulating, and we did have an SMT, I believe, at this high. Yeah, like this whole week we had a SMT at this 4-hour intermediate high. So, I mean, I was just super bullish the whole week pretty much, and that kind of happens when we overextend. We will accumulate for a while, but when we're accumulating, okay, all I'm looking for, it's so simple, is a manipulation to one side of the range. So say we manipulate this high. Okay, if we come into a higher time frame PD array, like a 1 hour gap, 4 hour gap, whatever, 15-minute gap, and reject off of it, shorts won't be bad. If we end up coming up a lot higher, shorts won't be bad. Immediately off open, if we dump, manipulate lower, I'm looking for longs towards the buy side. Very simple. So, on this day, very simple bias. When I hopped on at 9:15, we were still holding this top 15-minute gap, and pretty much all I said was if we inverse this, I'm expecting us to just run off of open towards this buy side up here. Towards this buy side level, and probably not get any pullbacks. If we did inverse this at the 9:30 candle, I was just looking for a simple pullback into a pretty premium gap and take longs off of that. But we ended up holding this 15-minute gap, and from there off open, flip to the 1 minute. Flip to the 1 minute, we did end up manipulating these highs. 1 minute intermediate high, good short. Well, not good short, not for me, but maybe a continuation trader. Ended up chopping. Really nice generation of low resistance liquidity here. And we end up taking out another good entry for continuation is this candle right here. We end up taking out this Asia low. And this was honestly, in this Asia low was a 4-hour intermediate low. So we had a decent rebalance of this pretty big range here. Swept out the 1-hour intermediate low. It's perfect AMD model. Manipulate the low. We had a SMT at the low. At this not intermediate low, but you could say internal low. SMT here. One clean 1 minute inversion. We had a perfect break even. I won't even want to go break even on this because I'm so confident. And I just end up getting stopped out. I think there was a 5 minute as well. This was a 5 minute. Yes, there was a 5 minute here too. So you could consider it a mech model. And you will see this happen sometimes where you have your perfect A+ setup. This is A+ for me. And you do get manipulated. Sometimes that happens. We put in a SMT here. ES makes a higher high. And we get a 30-second inversion. Very clean entry. I think I got entered right about here. And my main target was this 9:30 high that we put in. Well, it was 9:31, but you know what I'm talking about. And if we look at, see, we don't have London high in here because we had SMT. If you look at ES, and that's most likely what pushed us lower here. Also, I was into my bias, but I said if we ended up, and ES is the leading index, I said if we end up taking out London, then I'll just take everything off there. So, what did I do? We ended up getting into ES a lot earlier. I think once I entered, we instantly pumped. So I think I was break even about right here. I did take some partials at the 5 minute, and I did leave most run until we ended up putting in that SMT at London, which was right here. Yeah, right here. So, like I said, I took a 1 hour loss here and made around, over 2 hour on the day. So, and we ended up just pumping the rest of the day, I think. So, but once we take both sides of the range like this, you should just be completely done. Because look how sloppy price gets right after that. Just horrible. And you can expect all this LR to get ran too. Also, 4 hour candle just looked really bullish off my entry. That's why I was willing to hold for such high risk to reward there. And yeah, pretty simple day. And a lot of people said, oh, this, like, they're like, oh yeah, Dodgy faded this setup. I don't care. I'm taking this every single time. That's A plus. And then hit a 2+ hour trade directly after that. That's why I don't take one trade a day, or don't lock myself out. It's just dumb. It's not like, whoa. It's not like I was revenge trading. You just gotta know what to look for. You can see just very bullish market structure ever since like last Thursday. Just higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows. So you can't really fade the higher time frame trend, but you can have conditions. And it doesn't mean you can't end up getting a short. Okay, we did have news. Okay, so I ended up taking 1 loss and 1 win on Wednesday. I just remember from this price action. So we did have, I think it was non-farm payroll. So this was a data low, and I didn't really care about it because it wasn't really a swing low. We just went directly straight up. And if you just flip down to the lower time frame, we are in kind of a market maker like sell model. If you were to look at this, we do have this generated like sell side right here. We're about to take out all this buy side, or we actually did, and then take out this trend line. But like I said, on the higher time frame, we are literally just making higher highs and higher lows. So I wasn't bearish, but keep that in mind. You know, if we do, my condition was if we end up inversing these two 15 minutes, I'm instantly going to flip bearish. So what did I do? I had this 15-minute devil's marked out. All that is a candle with no wick on it. No sellers resting here. Most likely a lot of stop orders. Generated liquidity. So my main condition was if we pulled back, obviously, like I just said, if we inverse the 15 minutes and we get no reaction and continue lower, this data low will be it's not really a data low, but I didn't even have it marked out, actually, because it wasn't anything significant. We had this, and we had this 15-minute. So, off of open, what did we do? And we had already taken out most of this buy side, but we did have this 4-hour intermediate high. Keep in mind, NQ or ES had already taken it out. Or no, it actually didn't yet. Oh no, it did. Okay. But higher time frame, we are bullish. So I don't know why that did that. Okay, so coming into market open, like I said, we have this 15-minute this 15-minute devil's mark lined up with the 15-minute gap. What do we have here? We had a open. We didn't really do much off of open. We did have this pretty good sweep of this 15-minute low here. And one of the people, when I was taking it live, they're like, why aren't you waiting for this 5-minute intermediate low? I don't really care because we are so close to this major buy side up here, right here. And people were like, oh yeah, we just swept out this high. This is a protected high that you're targeting. Not really. It's not really protected because my main target is this buy side up here. So I don't really care. And also, it did take a while to inverse here, so it wasn't the best entry, but the only reason I took this was mainly because of the close on this candle. Otherwise, I most likely wouldn't have taken it if it was a weak close, just because I really thought that with this candle, we would have pushed immediately higher, but just got faked out. We did have a 1 minute up here. Didn't really care about it because this was like that main manipulation leg down that swept out this low here. So I was looking for a quick reaction. didn't end up getting it, which is fine. And yeah, as soon as this happened, I got faked out. I'm like, alright, well, yeah, and then we just accumulated for a bit. So I was waiting for a reaction then off of this 5-minute intermediate low. We never had that. I gotta pull up NQ on my phone because I might end up getting a short here. Might end up getting a short opportunity. We'll see. I'll keep that in. Okay. Looks pretty choppy. Okay, yeah, what was I talking about? Oh, yeah. It's 15-minute here. So as soon as we inversed this 15-minute on this candle, very, very, very strong selling pressure. But I was just looking for kind of just a mech model long, just from this huge, huge, huge sell-off from open. We kind of only went down. Where's my measuring tool? There we go. So from this peak, yeah, we're down like almost, from where I took my position at, almost 1.5%. So all I was looking for at this point, once we inversed this 5-minute here, 15-minute hadn't closed yet. But as soon as we inversed this 5-minute, I knew we were going lower. I was actually contemplating about taking the short, but I don't know. Higher time frame was just so bullish, and I was so confident that we were going to hit this buy side. Didn't end up happening. What do we end up getting? If you flip to the 5-minute time frame, which I'm on right now, we do have this. Let's see, where's it at? Yeah, right here. So we have this pretty big 5-minute here with this intermediate low inside of it. And we instantly got a 5-minute inversion to the upside in one candle. I'm like, all right, I'm in this. Took this pretty heavily sized. Not pretty heavily, but took this to the 15-minute. Up here, I could have held, but I don't know. I just wanted to be done for the day. Price action wasn't the best. I was happy with getting out at almost a 1 to 2. So, and, you know, at this 15-minute, we could reject and go lower. I honestly don't even know what we did. Yeah, I kind of chopped, but yeah, just literally accumulated the rest of the day. Okay. Going on to Thursday. Thursday, we had a bunch of LR here to run. Okay. So, if you look at this, before market even open, this is actually at market open, we inversed all these 15 minutes. I'm immediately bearish, okay? I'm not willing to long here, unless we were to come down into like a 4-hour like intermediate low or something. But we did have previous day low here. The hourly, we had no gaps. 15-minute, just not ideal. Not ideal at all. But main target was just to run the sell side. Just obvious. Generated sell side. So all I was waiting for, as soon as we inversed this, was a pullback into a 5 or 15-minute. We made a 5-minute here, never ended up pulling back. Ended up making a 5-minute order block here. And we finally make a 15-minute gap here, which I had marked out. All I waited for was a pullback into the gap here. We did chop around for quite a long time, and we're also bouncing off of this 5-minute order block. It's also another not condition, but reason to take the trade. And it did take a long time, but as soon as I saw we came up and tapped this rejection block, and I don't trade rejection blocks or anything, but we tapped this 50% to the tick, and then we got a 30-second inversion, and it did take over like 7 minutes to inverse a 30-second of 14 candles, but I was just so confident, and my main draw, like I said, was this previous day low. But if you flip to the daily time frame, we had this huge, where's it at? We had this huge daily wick. So all I was targeting was, it's not marked on here, but this was the CE of the daily wick, and it was a 1 to 2.29. I'm fine with that risk to reward. Yes, I could have held everything to previous day low and it would have hit, but I don't trade like that. I was fine with, getting this. I wasn't a fan of this trade anyways, but, it did end up playing out for like a 1 to 7, but it's just not what I'm willing to hold to, especially with, we could definitely reject off of the 50% mark. But simple continuation there. Flipping to Friday. See if I'm getting an entry yet. Seriously might get an entry here. Oh my god, I actually might get an entry on here. Okay, I'm gonna go through Fridays real quick. Okay, Friday, I'm just gonna flick through here. This was pre-market. This was before news even dropped. We came into, if you flip to the 4-hour here, we were inside of this discounted 4-hour gap. Go to the 5-minute. We swept up this 5-minute intermediate low. I entered early just due to the fact pre-CPI. I ended up inversing the 5-minute. SMT at Asia, we started consolidating, and I took all off. That's a weekly recap for the 9th through the 13th, and I'm about to take this trade on here. Oh, I don't even care. I'm still going to take this, I think. I was just looking for a continuation lower here, but we just came into a 5 minutes. I don't really like this anymore. Oh, I didn't even inverse this 1 minute here. Okay, but yeah, free Discord below. If you want to work one-on-one with me, DM me on socials. And if you want to watch me live trade, it's in the WAP. But yeah, peace.